Hi, America. The two of you that are watching.
I'll interpret. My name is Adam.
All
Welcome
right,
to.
here we go. Welcome to 4 Days of the Football. I'm Adam. That's Cyrus. That's Miles, and that is Mike. And we're going to get right into the divisional playoffs that just happened this past weekend. This is Monday, January 24th. And man, I've got to say that was the most exciting weekend of football I think I've ever seen.
Bar
And
none.
we are going to start with we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with the Chiefs and Bills game that has a lot of the country and even athletes and professional football players alike saying that we need to change the rules to the overtime because this game was basically won on a coin toss. Whoever won that coin toss won the game, which was the Chiefs. So who had the Chiefs? I know I didn't.
I did.
So Cyrus had Cyrus had the Chiefs, and mind you, that's the only home team that won this week. The only one. Dude, that was such a game, man. That was such a great game.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was something else, man.
dude,
It was like
I'm
a
still
good
in shock.
college. It was like a prime level Pac-12 college football game. The offenses were on fire. The defenses, well, couldn't do anything. And both quarterbacks. We have to share a conference with those two quarterbacks for the next 10 years. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Josh Allen, he has such a great. I mean, the final score was 42-36, and it went to overtime. Dude, Josh Allen was 27 of 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns. He only was sacked twice, and he had 68 yards rushing.
All four of those touchdowns to the same receiver, the guy who put, I think, Emmanuel Sanders on the bench.
Mm-hmm. I'd never heard of Gabriel Davis before that game.
No, neither have I.
Draft pick.
Neither had I.
I usually hear these people.
The only, the best play that Stephon Diggs had was taking out the guy that ran onto the field. That was, dude, he laid dude out. Did y'all see that?
I still need to find the Kevin Harlan call of that. I'm sure there's a Kevin Harlan call somewhere.
He calls everything.
It was great, dude. But man, what a game! What a game! The Chiefs kicked a field goal to send it to overtime, and it was just back and forth the entire. Dude, I feel bad for Josh Allen. I'm not gonna lie. I feel bad for that dude. I was really pulling for the Bills. I really was.
Yeah, I thought it was his time, and the way he played, I mean, he put the team on his back a couple of drives because it was real hard sledding, for a good portion of the middle part of the game. Everybody looks at the score, but most of those points came at the very end of the game. The middle part of the game, he was trying to catch up. They were down 9 points, and he was running the ball. He was buying time, getting receivers open. He played such a great game. And in the face of a Chiefs defense that, for a little bit came to play, like until the very end of the game, he deserved to win it, man. I really thought 2 different times that he won that game. And I'm from the look of his face on the sideline, and they all thought that they won the game. But playing against Patrick Mahomes, you really don't know.
Yep. Patrick Mahomes totally pulled off a Brady moment on that final drive. He really did.
So did freaking Josh Allen.
What's that?
So did Josh Allen.
Yeah, but he left too much time on the clock for him, dude.
99% of the time, it's not too much time.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's debatable.
I don't know what to say. I mean,
it is.
Twitter thought
Patrick Mahomes. It is. You gotta assume that whoever you're playing, if you leave them any time on the fucking clock, they have time to win. Period.
Yes, I agree with that, and I think that it was more Tyreek Hill than it was Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, fucking
Tyreek! I like Patrick Mahomes' performance. Don't get me wrong; he was amazing, but you can't just pass it to anybody and have him do what he did on the field.
And
Kelsey, yes, but Tyreek Hill just sticks out with the way. I mean, he had many instances where he should have been tackled, and he went for another 10, 15, 20 yards. It was just insane. And he was so fast, man. I think he was 20 miles per hour in that one catch going in, like where he was waving at somebody at the top of the end of the cheers. That's just insane. So, but man, I tell you what, the only positive I get out of this was less of a gut punch to win this way. I feel like as a player, if you take out the coin flip shit, all right, if you just take that out and they win by throwing a touchdown, and it is what it is, I guess, as they say. It's better than the gut punch they would have gotten the other way to lose the game in the regular time frame of the game, because it was so back and forth there at the end. Like
whoever had the ball last was going to win.
Was going to win, and like that just seemed like less fair. But then you go into this, and I guess there's that whole fairness of not being able to go down the ball or down the field and try yourself once you've scored on, which I don't understand that. I want to bring that up real quick. Why can't you have a hybrid of college with that? Like where you have, if they score a field goal, then you can march back down, or if they score a touchdown, you get a chance. But if you don't get a touchdown, then you lose. Like
why can't we just have 10 extra minutes of football?
No, because dangers of hurt oneself and all this is their problem.
Adam, you're suggesting like tournament soccer rules, what they do in extra time. I don't hate that idea, but personally, I'm in favor of just flat out pre-2021. Remember that 2-point conversion nonsense like in that damn Penn State game? But I'm straight up down with 2-point the way they did it in Division I college football before 2021. I don't hate the way they did it in college football. Could you imagine if we have Boise State game-like moments in the NFL? That'd be awesome.
I'm not familiar with it, honestly. I don't follow college enough to really know.
Basically, it's kind of so both teams get a possession, and you start at the 20-yard line. The other team. It's kind of like it does seem gimmicky. But there's what's the solution here? I know that what the NFL does currently is not the solution.
No, I mean, and everybody, I read something Colin Cowherd saying today, if you can't stop it, it's on you. It's on you. If your team can't stop the other team, then, you don't deserve to have that other chance. Do you?
I don't like Colin Cowherd. I don't agree with him often, but absolutely, because they changed the rules. Before, it was a field goal. It was sudden death, first team to score. And that's the way overtime was since, leather helmet days, right? They've had it that way for a long time. Then they changed it right before the Tebow playoff game to Demaryius Thomas. And that was the first game, I think, that had overtime with the new rules in the playoffs. Of course, they obviously didn't need it because they just scored. They would have won it with either rules. But I think that it's a better format now because it does work. It didn't work for this game, and I think people are kind of sour grapes about it. Because everybody was selfish and wanted to have more of that game, myself included, but can't change the rules for that.
Hear me out. Not only did it happen to this game, but it's happened twice. Both games involving the Chiefs, really. 2019 in the AFC Championship game. And hear me out. As offenses will get better, and as the rules will change to hurt defenses, I think it's at this point only fair to the defenses to give them a crack, because the NFL is making it damn near impossible for defenses to stop these quarterbacks anyway.
That is true. Yeah, I do agree with that.
You're not wrong there.
Hell, we can't just. That game should not have ended like that. I don't know if college rules are. I kind of like Adam's solution. I was watching. I actually watch the MLS, and I'm going to watch the World Cup. I'm kind of a soccer fan. Right. I like the way soccer does.
And it's not just tournaments that do it either, though.
The MLS does it in the regular season, I believe.
Yes, they do.
Well, a lot of does the Premier League do it in the regular season?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know Premier League. I thought the Premier League still
had extra time. There's extra time all the time when it comes to soccer. At least over in Scotland, there is.
I haven't watched a lot of EPL in the last couple of years, but I still watch a lot of it.
Am I on the right podcast?
Yes.
We're talking football.
We were talking football, but
miles through soccer.
I think a 10-minute, maybe not 10 minutes, maybe like something like a 6 or 7 or 5. If we're talking about player safety, Miles, I don't hate your player safety point there.
Well, I don't know at what value that is, but that's an argument that stands out loud.
The NBA plays overtime like that. They
play the NBA does, but they are considered less of a contact sport because the blood rule, you can get a blood.
The NHL playoffs do it. And let me tell you, it's fun.
Oh, well, NHL is a whole nother fucking.
I know. It's crazy.
They literally let people fight in the game.
Hockey's great. Go crazy. Take a salt tablet. But
So Kansas City's moving. So they get to go into the NFC Championship for the fourth year in a row. They get to host it because of other shit that happened.
We'll talk about that
later. Yeah, we'll get into that later. So at this point, it's going to be Kansas City fighting for the Super Bowl. And I really don't give a shit. I don't want to see Kansas City in there. I don't.
I care. I want Bengals.
Do you?
Yes.
Hell, I'll even say it. I want Cincinnati too.
Yes,
I'm not mad at the Bengals.
I'm mad at the damn Titans.
I want a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. That's what I want.
Yeah, that'd be
hilarious.
I don't know about that.
I think it'd be fun for that.
I can't believe. Yeah, we'll get into that. So, the Rams, they're going to the NFC Championship, and they put Brady away. And dude, watching that game, I really thought Brady was going to win it. They were down to what was it, 27-3? Was that the score?
Yes.
They were down 27-3, and Tom Brady, in like halfway through the third quarter, was like, "All right, cool, I'm going to be with Tom Brady now," and just started being Tom Brady.
Yep.
Fucking people up. Just you know.
And they had the same set of announcers that they had for the 28-3 game in the Super Bowl at Tampa, and they're like, "Well, we've seen this one before," and that's when it was 27-3. And I mean, Chris Collinsworth, man, he just became a squeakier and squeakier little girl as the game went on.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god!" But you know, this is one of two games. I didn't get to make this point about the Chiefs game, but the Chiefs-Bills game, the defenses and the coaches let those teams down. There was some inexplicable defensive play calls on both sides in that game, and similarly in the Rams game, as things kind of progressed on, they got super conservative. And the defense, man, it's like they just went to this prevent defense, and they didn't put any pressure on Brady like they had been the entire game. They completely backed off. What was that?
What was what?
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard something. But yeah, and so they completely backed off, and I think that was a big part of why they were allowed to come back.
No, the defenses were non-existent in that game, in the Chiefs and Buffalo's game. Now, I did not expect that. I'm not backtracking here. I didn't expect that because Buffalo's the number one defense in the fucking league. And they were playing zone the entire night. The one time that I saw them play man, Tyreek Hill burned their ass.
Yep. Ran across it right over there, but they didn't have anybody else in the middle of the field. They just left the middle of the field open. A team with 2-3 timeouts left, they're going to throw in the middle of the field because they can. And that's why I was like, that's bonkers, man.
It was. And like you said, the same thing was happening in the Tampa Bay Rams game. Man, what a great game.
I
loved seeing Tom Brady get put out. I don't know. Call me. I don't know.
So hear me
I
out.
enjoyed that.
The Rams certified themselves as my Super Bowl pick when they stopped the bleeding. When they assured them, when they made it to where Brady didn't finish the comeback, it's like, oh, someone stopped Brady from finishing the comeback.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. So that they did. That's the hardest part of the playoffs.
Yes.
Oh man, the balls, the gigantic cylinder fucking balls that they had on that call at Cooper Kupp right down the seam. Because I mean, they said it on the broadcast, like Stafford could not see him. Like he was under pressure. He threw to a spot, and dude, he pulled a howitzer out of his ass. That thing landed right in the breadbasket. They missed that. They start running out of time, go to overtime. If the Rams go to overtime, they lose that game 10 times out of 10.
Absolutely.
But they put them away, man. It's awesome.
Hear me out. We're going to be saying that play. Here in a month, if the Rams win the Super Bowl, we're going to be saying in a month or so, the Rams won the Super Bowl with that play in the divisional round.
Yep. I agree.
I loved it. I mean, Matthew Stafford had a great first half. I mean, he really did. Was on it. And dude, I love Sean McVay. He's a positive dude. I just like how he is. I've heard a lot of the mic'd up stuff of him, and the way he treats his players and encourages them. Dude, it's just like I really enjoy this guy. Yeah, he would be a great person to play for. You know,
I like coaches who very obviously like winning. Like he's very happy. Like he's a big fan of winning. You can tell.
Well,
oh yeah.
No, like you got your Belichick's who they win the Super Bowl.
You should be a little excited, but
your Sabans of the world. I mean, even Jeff Fisher never got really all excited, and I know he's not great, but just famous coaches.
He got excited at the Music City Miracle. Well, let's just
couldn't. Well, I wish I was alive. Damn.
Yep, that was a hell of a play.
I like McVay's strategy going towards like the the hell with the draft picks, and let's just take care of what we can do.
It's very devil may care
without it. I like it, man, because I feel. I mean, haven't the Patriots over the past 10 year of Bill Belichick proved that draft picks are not as the greatest thing in the world? I mean, it's nice to get a good draft pick, but I mean, it seems that you can go pretty far without it if you just play your cards right. Because they're always are hyped up like these. It's very rare. How many times could you go back and somebody may know the top of this off their head, but where the top 10 picks turned out to be something, you know what I mean? You maybe get 1 or 2 out of those top 10 picks that actually amount to something. Maybe 3. I don't know how good the odds are.
We have drafts where, of course, the top 10 is legendary, but most drafts, it's about 4 or 5 of the top 10 become superstars, and the rest just become solid NFLers that you don't hear about. They are good. They're just solid, and they fill holes, and people forget that's what
they're not flashy. They're not skilled positions in the sense that they're the ones making the touchdowns or whatever. You're not going to, because let's face it, most of the people that go in the top 10 picks are usually linemen, and you don't really. Unless that lineman got drafted to your team, you don't really hear much about them guys. Like Taylor Lewan, you hear about him because he was the Titans' number 1 pick. A few years ago, that was their first pick of the draft. That's the only reason you heard about it. What's that?
That and a shitty Barstool show.
You don't like that?
No, I have a buddy who actually went on there, he trolled them and basically got it was the whole thing, but. He called he called the Will Compton guy a bust because he is, and it's funny, but that shows up nonsense. And
I mean, but I'm just saying as far as draft picks goes, I mean, to me it seems like it's the later round guys that you hear about. They're the difference makers a lot of the times.
They are. I think especially in those positions, offensive, defensive line. Where you're really gonna make a lot of noise is when you start to draft depth, because you could have some really good players, a good pass rusher or a good D tackle, a good linebacker even, but you have to have the depth behind them because that's some high contact positions. You're gonna have to have people to sub in for injuries, and also those positions get gassed. All the best Titans teams, since we're talking about the Titans a little bit, is the ones that have had the defensive line depth, the guys who could roll in and out, the guys, where they're not all depending on an Albert Hainsworth. There's like a lot of role players and guys who can sort of fill out the rest of it. And a lot of them are those late round draft picks. If you don't hit on those, it shows up this time of year.
Yeah, obviously. The Titans,
that's actually a good transition. Not hitting on your late round draft picks into the next. It might be a good transition to the next game, to the Packers game.
Dude, that was great.
Special teams, folks.
Special teams is everything, everybody. That is the most important. It was the most important team that was on that field that day. That's for fucking sure.
Reminds me of the tale of the 2010 Chargers. Y'all ever heard the tale of the 2010 Chargers?
Please enlighten me.
They had the first-ranked offense, the first-ranked defense. They had the 32nd ranked special teams. They missed the playoffs. If it could have been
lower, it would have been. It was all-time bad.
They missed the playoffs having the first-ranked offense and first-ranked defense.
And didn't the special teams coach keep his job too, or something?
I don't remember, but this is the same franchise that fired a coach after going 14-2, so it's hard to tell.
Great point.
But the Packers just shot themselves in the foot, and then they shot themselves in the head, and somehow they were alive enough to shoot themselves in the chest afterwards. They had 10 men on the field for that last field goal.
Yes, they did.
They had a guy almost get to the kicker. If they have 11 men, they might block that kick.
Yeah, well.
Bye, Rogan.
So the 49ers are going to SoFi to play the Rams. So that's the NFC Championship. So with Rodgers, not winning this game, does that mean anything for him? Does that diminish him, or is that more of a Matt LaFleur thing, or is it both? I mean, let's face it, dude. Aaron Rodgers chokes every fucking time in the playoffs.
This was all Rodgers. This was all Rodgers, in my opinion.
We'll see how he does with his new team next year, won't we? Oh boy, what a disaster! I mean, I'm as a Titans fan, I'm glad it happened because it means no one's talking about our choke. But man, I mean, it's pretty bad to have Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, a fixed defense, and wow.
He's had so many strange occurrences in the playoffs that came back and really were the cause of the loss. I can't remember a ton of games that they lost because of Aaron Rodgers. You can put this one on him more than most, but last year it was LaFleur kicking the field goal instead of going for it.
Yep.
This year it was special teams. And special teams really accounted for a lot of points in this game. It wasn't just the blocked punt that they put in for a touchdown at the end of the game. It tied it. It was also the 3 points that the Packers were going to get right before halftime that got blocked. And, the returns and stuff, I mean, it was just really bad. It probably you gave up a win to a San Francisco team that's going to play a Rams team this week and for the third time, which, by the way, the only reason the 49ers are in the playoffs is because the Rams let them win that last game of the season. And the 49ers didn't score a touchdown to win the second game of the playoffs. It's crazy. And again, I mean, I don't think Rodgers is ever going to get over the hump. Drew Brees never did. He had the one Super Bowl and a bunch of crazy playoff losses. I think it just kind of becomes who you are. And then after a while, the legend is so big you can't get through it.
Dude, if Deebo Samuel's on the field this weekend, then I don't know, man. That guy seemed to be like the LeBron James of the 49ers, man. I mean, if you couldn't draw inspiration from what that dude was packing out there on the field, then you didn't need to play football, because he was just everywhere doing everything and giving 110%. And
absolutely.
I didn't see hurt on the field.
That running play he made before to get them in the field goal range, right?
Yes.
It might be one of the greatest individual performance plays I've ever seen in the sport of football. Seriously, on one leg.
Yeah.
This dude, I mean, he's hopping off the field afterward. It's like, that's the kind of thing you see in NFL films packages 50, 60 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Crazy individual effort, man.
It was, I mean, it's awesome. That was awesome.
So, Jimmy Garoppolo had a fucking shit game. He was 11 of 19.
Wow, what's new?
Right?
He sucks.
He was 11 of 19, 131 yards, no touchdowns and interception. That's what his passer rating was.
Shit.
11.9.
Yeah, that's
the elements
lower.
Affected it.
What's that?
Not that much.
His passer rating is lower than if he just took the ball and threw it into the ground every play. Like, for real, that's how bad of a performance that is. Wow. Wow.
He started the game and his receivers were dropping balls left and right. That was in the beginning. But then it just, as he kind of started to sort of get a better stat line, it was him. I mean, he was missing guys and he was holding the ball.
Oh, it's bad.
There was a lot of wide open guys in the elements. I mean, not everybody's going to be able to chase receivers all over the field. And he had some guys open. But, no, he made typical Jimmy mistakes. Right. There was one time they were driving down in the red zone and he forced it in there. I mean, it was so late on the sideline to Kittle. It was so late that Kittle ran his route into the end zone, had to come back all the way from the back of the end zone, and he got picked off on like the 5-10 yard line. And I mean, that's points taken off the board. He does that shit to kill them every game. I have no doubt it's going to continue this week.
I agree. I mean, Troy Aikman was about ready to jump out of the booth. He just kept saying it. He was like, you can't keep doing this. Like, you're not going to get away with this. I mean, these passes were just god awful, and I don't see how all of them were intercepted. I mean, it was like, it was a step above a Tim Tebow playoff performance. I mean, it was pitiful, man. So
Tebow
I
had
don't know what to
touchdowns.
think. But I mean, it was shit. I didn't think they had a chance for the past 2 weeks, and here they are. I don't know what I mean. The Rams though, they look good, but they have I didn't like the way they gave up, man. I did not like that. They put the pedal to the metal and continue grinding, and I felt like they let up on the pedal, and it almost cost them the fucking game.
Absolutely,
yeah, it
absolutely did.
They did not deserve to win that game. Let me be frank. Like, the Niners, when the kicking units were not on the field, the Packers were like the more dominant team.
Mm-hmm.
And then
by far,
but they just couldn't finish on offense.
How dominant could they be when the final score was 13-10?
When you can't finish in the red zone and your kicking unit is nothing? Yeah,
Mason Crosby's been shaky all year. I wouldn't.
He's been shaky for 2 or 3 years. I'm
Yes.
surprised he has a gig.
Yeah.
He's an up and down guy. He's got a good leg, and he's a very streaky kicker. But it's just like when he's good. When he's bad for a long while. And that is something that I was always curious about, like why they haven't gone out and at least tried to get somebody to compete with him. Because there's been some years in the middle of the season they were talking about cutting him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But with all this talent around him, I don't think that it really behooves them to even bring Rodgers back. I don't know if you guys want to bring that up. With them being so far over the cap this next season, they're going to have to make some choices. And I don't know. I don't know that it helps them. It's kind of like a Steelers situation where if you just keep bringing back Big Ben, you're actually holding back the talent that you can't develop because you have a guy back there who's eventually going to cost you games.
Well, see, and another thing is Devontae Adams is a free agent this year. He's going into free agency.
Yeah,
and
there's no way they
get
can
paid
keep
somewhere.
Rodgers.
Nah, there's no way. They're not going to be together next year, regardless.
Which sucks. That sucks.
The number I was throwing out before we went live, I said like 70 million. The 70 million is going to be Saints. They're 74 million over the cap as of right now. The Packers are 40 million over the cap.
The Saints are 74 million over?
74 million. That's
How
Drew Brees dead
fuck
money.
Is that?
That's Drew Brees dead money and some others. Yeah.
They went when they talked about the Saints going all in on those last couple Saints like Brees years. They meant it. Like they would be over like luxury taxes in the MLB and NBA. It's bad.
From what I was reading something today on Pro Football or something like that, talking about how Sean Payton is not committed to coming back to the Saints next year.
No, it's an open thing now. It's no longer a secret. Like basically, Gail Benson, the owner, came out and said, "Well, we're waiting to hear from him, see what he wants to do."
Well, I don't think he'd go to college. I don't think he has the energy to recruit.
But I mean, if for having that kind of cap hit, I'll be like, you know what? My hands are tied. I'm gonna be able to do shit. I'm out. Y'all deal with this.
Well, if he wants a good cap situation and a young Sean Payton, oh God, he's gonna go to Jacksonville, isn't he?
Yep.
I don't want that. Adam's over here now praying.
Yeah, you know me.
If he goes to Jacksonville, he gets Trevor Lawrence, a lot of untapped potential, and $60 million in cap space to go along with the number one overall pick this year.
And
I would take that.
And an owner who will let him do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to fly back in the team plane.
He would have complete control over his entire football team.
Oh no.
These are all good things.
So
these are great.
Well, they'd have to give up some stuff to get him. It would be an actual trade. There'd be compensation going both ways. But
and the
I
cons
don't.
Would be dumb not to try it.
Yeah, I don't think the Saints are trying too hard to hold on to him. I think they're really ready to get into rebuild mode. I don't think they're going to stick with Jameis. I don't think Taysom Hill is an answer. I think they've got a lot of problems they got to fix in the roster, and they're ready for a down year to basically eat the dirt and then rebuild. So why not get another coach too? Just do the whole damn thing. Pull a Texans.
And Saints fans can handle it. It's not like there's a fan base issue. That dome has seen many a losing season. So.
Oh, a quick business question that I had because I don't really keep up with that side of it. Is Tannehill still? Is he going to be our quarterback next year? Or is that in question?
Oh, it's going to be a terrible cap hit if they. I don't know how they're going to get rid of Ryan Tannehill.
They're getting rid of him.
Oh, I know they're going to try.
Wait. The reason they're getting rid of him is because he completely lost the Titans that game Saturday night against the fucking Bengals. That's what happened there. He cost them that game. Him and Todd Downey. But more so Ryan Tannehill. Now, here's my argument for it. All right, so the final was 19-16. Fucking the Bengals, they didn't do worth a fuck. And apparently the Titans didn't do either. Didn't as well. I'm sorry. Done got me all riled up. I'm pissed off now. I'm fucking stumbling over my words. Ryan Tannehill.
Slow down, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so here's the thing. Tannehill, first play from scrimmage. And I was talking to some guys at work about this. I was like, you know what they need to do? They need to do play action on that first freaking play. Man, throw it down to A.J. Brown. Well, what they did was play action. and tried to throw a screen that got fucking intercepted right off the bat. And I'm sorry, if you saw that play, you knew what the fuck we were in for the rest of the damn day.
Yep.
That's why I didn't see much of the Packers and the 49ers games, because I watched that whole piece of shit of a game. Oh my god! And it wasn't, you know what? It wasn't that piece of shit of a game. What the problem was Ryan Tannehill, the offense. Because, dude, AJ Brown had a great day. We ran the ball for 150 yards. We had 9 sacks.
9.
We had 9 sacks.
They wasted an all-time defensive performance.
We had 9 sacks.
The only thing I agree that Tannehill came up short a good bit, but I think that the play calling and really the game plan in general was badly mishandled. I think Todd Downing, if he was allowed to run this whole thing by himself, I think somebody needs to take responsibility for giving him that. You have Derrick Henry. It looking back now, hindsight's 2020. They should have let him play Week 18 and get a few carries, get back into a flow. He was clearly not really in any kind of a rhythm, and they kept going to him, knowing. And that fourth down play was a pure example of the fact that he wasn't ready to hit that hole. He was skittish. Maybe not really skittish is the right word, but he hesitated, and that cost him that play. But he also had almost like a 3-yard average for the rest of the game, and they didn't try to mix it back in with the other running backs. The other guys who got carries, they did pretty decent. One of them ripped off a long run. I think it was Foreman.
Yep.
Yeah, Foreman for 45 yards. You take that 45-yard run away from him, he still averaged over 6 to 7 yards a carry. But yet,
gotta ride the hot hand, man.
I know it, dude. It's all right. So
they should have done. They should have.
I understand, Mike, what you're saying. I understand, Mike, what you're saying as far as it's not all on Tannehill. He was off, but no, it's all on Tannehill. Fuck him. He had 3 interceptions. He had 3 interceptions, man. And you know what? You're absolutely right, though. I'm just fucking with you. Because the thing this is what lost us the game. Going for 2 at the beginning of the game.
Didn't help.
That right there just showed you, what are you doing? That right there made me lose confidence in our coaching staff. Why would you go for 2? It doesn't make sense to go for 2 because you're not gaining anything from doing that. You could have taken the lead by 1 point. Now, if you go for 2 so that you get up by a field goal, or they have to get a touchdown or a field goal to match you, then yeah, go for 2. That's cool. But when you're either going to be ahead by 1 point or 2 points, why not just take the surefire 1 point and call it a day? That would have changed all of our play calling.
I'm just saying their play calling wasn't aggressive, and I think with the type of team they were playing against and the amount of players we had back for this game, that you could have afforded to be aggressive calling the plays. Now I understand going for it for the 2 point and various other spots in the game, some questionable head scratchers. That's a different type of aggressive. I'm actually talking about, okay, it's first down. We're not necessarily going to run the ball right into the teeth of the defense. It's 2nd down and 9. We're not going to run the ball or throw some little piddly-ass flat screen. They needed to throw the ball down the field. I think that they could have put the game on Tannehill's back and given him a chance to be successful if they'd called it differently. When they finally started giving him a chance to throw the ball, when they put the game in Tannehill's hands, is when it was 3rd and long. Well, they fucking know you're going to throw the ball. So they're covering these receivers. They also ran these routes that were short of the sticks. The last play that was Westbrook-Akina, that was a 20-yard play when they didn't need to do that. That's completely the opposite problem because they're just trying to drive down the field to get into field goal range. And, he's trying to launch at 25 yards into triple coverage, which ball bounced up and it's intercepted. It's like they were picking plays at random. And I think that more than anything cost them the game. Tannehill did not play well, and I'm not trying to cover for him, but he was put in a bad spot.
All right, I'll give you that he was put in a bad spot. However, he put himself in that bad spot simply because he can't read the defense. He can't not stare down his receiver. It's not just that he throws interceptions. It's his foot. What he's done this year compared to the last 2 years makes no sense. He's completely regressed. especially in this year alone. He had 6 or 7 interceptions last year. Shit, dude, he had that within like 4 or 5 games this year.
Yeah, he doubled it this year.
He cannot, dude.
Todd Downing was the worst offensive coordinator hire this franchise has ever made, and I include Terry Robisky in this assessment.
I don't know, man. Norm Chow was great.
All right, well, okay. The Rustin Webster years do not count, Michael. Damn it. But, okay. Todd Downing's been making questionable play calls all year, and mostly in the passing game. Ryan Tannehill's regression is straight up link with Todd Downing's hiring. Todd Downing was a terrible offensive coordinator. What was the one good year he had? Who was his QB? The year that made him relevant?
I have no idea.
I gotta Google this.
Go ahead and Google that, because I'll tell you what the reason that he's regressed, I think, so much this year is the only difference in his phenomenal performances in 2019 and 20 is he had Arthur Smith calling the shots. Now, I knew when we lost Arthur Smith last offseason that was going to hurt the Titans, and it completely destroyed Tannehill's. I don't know, man. Dude, he can't read the field. He can't read a defense. He can't not stare at his receivers. The guy from Buffalo who made the first pick, I don't know his name, but in the press conference, they asked him about it. He's like, well, I just saw where he was looking and I knew where he was going to throw it. That's no. You shouldn't be able to do that, dude. It was so, I don't know. It was just so bad. Go ahead. Sorry.
So this doofus, the offensive coordinator, has one good year in 2017 as the offensive coordinator with the Raiders with Derek Carr. He had that MVP year, then he got hurt in the final game. And then but other than that, this dude has been like an offensive line coach he was with the Vikings before he was with us, and Kirk Cousins wasn't exactly setting the world on fire. This is just a bad hire.
So is Matt LaFleur. What has he ever done?
Well, I'm just noticed the Titans haven't had a good offensive coordinator since 2004?
Arthur Smith was good, man.
You know what? He was. I shout on Arthur Smith a lot. Damn it. He had his brain farts, but yeah, he was a pretty solid play caller.
Dude, he was a really good play caller, and ever since Tannehill came in there and they got together, that's when Tannehill excelled. That's when Derrick Henry excelled.
Yeah, by all appearances, Todd Downing doesn't play to the players' strengths. He tries to kind of put them in what his dream scenario would be for the offense, and that's not always the case. When you had Arthur Smith there, he had guys like Jonnu Smith and a younger A.J. Brown that he was putting in situations that are more to what they're capable of doing. A.J. Brown ran a lot more crossing routes, these shallow kind of slant routes, in his second year. And he was taking those to the house, man. He was getting a 5-yard ball and going 50, 60 yards with it. And now you don't have that. You have A.J. Brown running sideline routes and going down and doing deep in cuts and stuff. And sometimes they work out, but they're more of a jump ball scenario. He's a physical receiver. He does better with the ball in his hands. Yes. And that on top of the fact that in this game, every time they threw at A.J. Brown, he was making plays, just like he was in Week 18, Week 17. I mean, the guy had a great end of the season. Throw it to him 15 times. Quit trying to spread the ball around. They had a bunch of guys just kind of rotating in and out and throwing balls out the backfield. They could have won this game if they went to him more.
So, this is going to sound rash. I would straight up threaten what was threatened to Mike Mularkey 3 or 4 years ago. They need to fire Todd Downing, or we're going to fire all of you. Like, that is how bad of a hire this is.
Oh, I agree, but here's the thing: how many people has Mike How many people has Mike Vrabel fired? 0.
Well, it's going to be.
He has not got rid of anybody since he's been a coach here.
He's going to be.
And
stubborn.
I'd like to elaborate on that. I believe that through this man's coaching, he has a bit of indecisiveness displayed. I feel like that I don't know, but someone who has not fired somebody just seems. I know that doesn't seem strength to me. I hate to say that. I don't want anybody to get fired, but if he has hired people and he hasn't fired people, and he's been tenured for what? How long has he been a head coach?
He's been the head coach of the Tennessee Titans since 2018,
and he has not fired anybody yet.
No,
this does
he's
not
only
show
he's parted ways with the linebacker coach from last year.
But so he's fired one guy.
How do you?
No, he didn't fire him. They parted ways. The linebackers coach got
nicely
passed up.
Fired.
What's that?
They nicely fired him.
Well,
that's what I mean.
Dude quit. Dude moved on to something else. But no, go ahead, Miles. Sorry.
No, I just feel like how we've done. This is just I think he has not been there when the pressure has been put on for this team. Obviously, I feel that way because in these big moments like this, they look lost. I think it's more coaching than it was Brian Tannehill to be on with. I'm with Mike on this. Ryan Tannehill sucked, but these places he was put in, man, were tough places, and what they were doing just didn't seem to make sense. They just didn't look good. It wasn't the bad news Bears Arizona Cardinals, but it wasn't fun to watch.
Dude, here's my problem. Here's my issue with that is that the plays that Todd Downing called, yes, they were shit, and they put him in terrible positions. But dude, Ryan Tannehill missed numerous open people to throw the ball to. He already predetermined where he was going to throw the ball before the ball was snapped. He had one person and one target he was throwing to. The one that the play was called for. Dude, on the last interception, Ferkser was in the middle of the field wide open.
And he throws it to NWI, who is double covered.
Yes, I saw that.
What's fucked up? Right before that play, Drew, who's been, God bless him, he's watched every single one of these games with me. I don't know how he does it. But he straight up said right before that play, the score should be 28-16 Titans right now, right? That's what the score should be. I'm like, yeah, Drew, I'm aware. And then Tannehill throws his third pick.
Yes. And when he threw his second pick, who was wide open on that second pick that he threw?
I didn't see.
A.J. Brown.
Oh.
Wide open.
Well,
that first play should have been a deep pass. I don't know why he was throwing it into the middle of I don't know what that check down.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Listen. That's my point with Tannehill. They're giving him the plays. He's making the wrong decisions on the plays.
Okay, fair enough. But how does Vrabel go through this entire season with all these injuries and look like a genius, and then go and just shit the bed for this game, this very first playoff? Explain that to me.
Well, I think they built this sort of patchwork offense to kind of encapsulate the guys that were in there and try to get the best out of them. This simplified, no risk it type offense, and then they kept running that offense. And that's why the game against the Texans was so close, closer than it should have been on the Week 18 game. And then also against the Bengals, which the Bengals defense is nothing to write home about. They've been up and down this year. They had injuries. We should have been all over it. There's no reason that I can think of that it shouldn't have been at least 28 points, like you said. And they just were afraid. They called plays afraid. They put him in spots where he then just sort of coughed it up and choked. But on that point, Tannehill has limitations. Going forward, you know what you got. You know what kind of player he is. You can't just put the whole season on him and expect him to win. This year, they were fortunate in the fact that they had offensive line depth. They had a couple of receivers that came on. They played some bad teams in our division. Any other season, I don't know that 21 touchdowns is enough from your starting quarterback who didn't miss a game to injury in an 18-week season. 17-game season, sorry. 21 touchdowns in 17 games. That right there, you can't put all of that on Downing. I will give you that. So next year, you need to get somebody to compete with him that's not – I don't even know the guy's name who's backing him up right now. But you need to bring somebody on, or if you're done with Tannehill, move him on.
Woodside.
Right. That's not happening. Look.
The cap hit would be a dead cap space with Tannehill would be $28 million.
Good grief.
So he's here next year. Yay.
Nah, dude, he's gone. They'll figure it out. The Rams figured it out.
And I'm just gonna. I want to address the Twitter real quick. I know it's weird. I saw the name Mariota trending after the game, and if you're one of the blowhard morons who thinks that Marcus Mariota would have been a better option, 21 touchdowns is more than Mariota had in all but one of his seasons as a Titan. And if Mariota was the quarterback, we would have been picking in the top 5 this year. Thank you very much. That's all I want to say.
No, that's.
I want to say this about Cincinnati, the other side of the ball here. They didn't play a fantastic game by any means, but Joe Burrow had it in him to get sacked 9 times and still help them win the game.
Yeah, he still had 300
that says
something
something for him. That says something for him.
And it wasn't just only one interception. That wasn't an interception.
Yes, it was yes. He didn't get rattled, man. No, ice in the veins.
Watching a quarterback wearing the number 9 get his ass kicked in that stadium and win was pretty interesting. But it just happened to be happening to us and not happening for us.
Yeah.
I mean, he got his ass kicked and still led that. Most QBs really, it wasn't the best field position, especially after that pick, especially after Eli Apple's taunting penalty. But which was the first taunting penalty I've seen that looks borderline deserved. Eli Apple sucks. But he did nothing on that play, by the way, and he was the one who got the penalty. Like nothing to get the pick. But I don't know. It's hard not to be disgusted.
What they need to do is they need to try to figure out the way to get Russell Westbrook here.
Wilson.
Draft, whatever.
I like that.
Yeah, triple doubles for everybody.
Yeah, my bad. Russell Wilson, get him in here. Send Tannehill up there. Draft Malik Willis, and let's see what we can do.
It'd be cool to have Russ, man. That'd be fun. That would be really
Who's
fun.
Who's going to take Ryan Tannehill after he's done with the Titans?
Yeah.
Man? Nobody's going to.
I think a lot of teams would. I don't think they'd take him necessarily to be a starter.
Well,
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that he's going to be
a Flacco role in a lot of teams. Yeah, or what Sanchez was.
That's what I meant. But let me back up. I meant as a starter. Yes, they could take him as a backup.
Well, he'd be a decent transitional guy. I think he
has been here.
I think he would excel up in New England.
I don't see it. This is his last leg.
I thought that's what Tannehill was going to be. There was remember, people forget when the year after the AFC title game year, people had the Titans drafting like Drew Lock or something as like a sit-in could be behind Tannehill. People thought the Titans were going to do that.
Yeah.
But luckily, because we've seen how Drew Lock turned out, may or may not be his fault, but still. But yeah, luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here because, as Mike Insider said on that last podcast, this is the Titans' chance. They've got all their money wrapped up into this season, and now it's over because of Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, I'm going to die on this hill. I don't give a fuck.
I'm going to say it's 60-40 to Tannehill. I'll do that.
How does
they're not? Sorry, they're not super strapped on cap space. I'm sitting here looking at what they're projecting for 22. The Titans are going to have minus $6 million, which is not bad. They're not going to be able to sign everybody, but they have a lot of key pieces from this year that they're going to want to lock up. Danico Autry, they got to get that guy signed long term in a hurry. And they've got some other guys that they added on defense that can keep the defensive unit together probably a couple years. But you have bloated contracts for Tannehill, obviously, and then you got one for Derrick Henry. He's probably – he's hitting the end of that arc probably. You have the injuries and the way that they use him. You got to find an offensive identity, which means you're going to have to dig some guys out of the draft and get them rolling. Otherwise, it's going to – this continuation of the offense struggling, you'll be seeing it, for the next 2 seasons probably, unless they hit really big on a player.
Tannehill has to go, and the reason Tannehill
like it. I'm laughing.
It's hard not to go to that direction.
Tannehill has to go because his team doesn't believe in him now. His team does not believe that they can win the Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill running the show, and he's proven that he cannot win the big games. He's proven it for the last 2 years. That he can't win in the playoffs.
It doesn't matter what they do, QB, wide receiver, draft. It doesn't matter what they do. If Todd Downing's calling the plays next year. He's just not good. He's trash, and he's been trash since week 1.
Let me speak with this about this since you brought it up. We've never seen the past 2 weeks has been the most we've ever seen out of Matt Stafford in the postseason.
Yeah,
is he going to be able to handle the NFC Championship?
I think he just proved to everybody yesterday that he can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I get curious.
He'll handle it better than Jimmy Garoppolo does.
Yeah, he can get knocked out of sync though, man. I'm interested to see. I hope that
he can't get knocked out of sync, but he's got a team around him. He's never had a team around him.
I agree. I want him to, man. I think he deserves a Super Bowl ring more than anybody else on the field, other than maybe Cincinnati as a team. Yep. Cincinnati as a team, as a city, might deserve one. But as a man, an individual player, the motherfucking Matthew Stafford deserves a Super Bowl ring.
I agree. And you know what? I never in my lifetime thought I would be rooting for somebody on the Rams, or the Rams for that matter. But here I am. That's who I want to win. I want to see Sean McVay get that Super Bowl because I like Sean McVay as a coach. I think he's a great coach. I think the way he talks to his players, man, he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm his doppelganger as well. So
he has somebody try to get your autograph. That's awesome. So, all right. So I think I only got one pick from the other day from our last little.
Oh, let's see.
I know I picked the Rams. Other than that, I'm pretty sure I lost all the other ones.
Titans, Packers, Bills. Yeah, you got the Rams. Cyrus, Packers, Rams, Chiefs. So you got the Rams and Chiefs. Mike, you got the Rams and the Rams. Right? No, 49ers. Right. 49ers. You picked the 49ers.
You nailed that sentence. Oh, my goodness.
And then I lost them all.
Yeah, Miles. That's karma for the fantasy year, bud.
Yeah. See, I need to pick first, so I don't pick contrarian. I need to pick first, and then you guys.
All right. Well, by all means, you got two games to pick.
In all fairness, Miles, I think a lot of people lost all 4 this week. But yeah, go
ahead. Excuse me. Bengals, Chiefs. I want the Bengals to win. See, I do who I want, not who's going to. Is that a better strategy?
No, it's not, because that's what I keep doing.
Probably works just as well.
Right. And I'm gonna say the Rams. I mean, the 49ers can't carry on like that. Jimmy G.
All right. No, Jimmy G, is he even going to play? I mean, what was his injury?
I understand he had another gig with a modeling agency that he couldn't be late for.
What? I actually, if he was hurt, I think I'd prefer their chances with Lance. A QB with no film who seems to have an arm. You never know.
Hey, that's what my wife said last night. Who's the model on the field?
Freaking Zoolander.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, Tyrus, who you got?
All right. So in Bengals Chiefs, I actually think this game's going to be much closer than I guess a lot of the national media is going to have it. I think the Chiefs don't exactly have the defense to get to Burrow like other teams do, and I think it's going to be a high-flying matchup, and the Chiefs just played a very emotional game. But I think Kansas City pulls it out in the end, and then the Rams are going to steamroll the 49ers. I think that's the first blowout I've called this year. I'm calling this year. It's going to be a steamrolling.
So you're already calling your Super Bowl pick.
I think the Rams won the Super Bowl with that play in the divisional round. Once you stop Tom Brady from doing Tom Brady things, ask the Ravens a few years ago, ask the Broncos, ask all these teams who have beaten, with the exception of the 2019 Titans because we're cursed. If you stop Tom Brady, you usually win the Super Bowl.
Yep. Giants.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
I was trying to get my wife on the podcast. She's coming here to hand off snacks. And I'm like, no, come a little closer.
Yeah, I heard the door.
I want snacks.
I got so Chiefs Bengals. I want to look up the over real quick because that's going to kind of playing to this.
I haven't looked at the odds.
All I know is bet the over.
I'm wondering what it is. Spread. Well, you're out to work to get the damn point spreads in this thing. Spreads. The Athletic, you have to pay for that.
I got it here. The Chiefs are favored by 7.
Is that all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder what the point over is.
That's over a touchdown.
Yeah, if the over, like for the points in the game, is 70, I'd probably still take the over. I think it's going to be high flying. I think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I do think the Chiefs are going to pick up enough steam, and it's going to put more pressure on Burrow that he's comfortable
over
with.
Under is 53.5.
I'd take the over all day.
I've got 54. I got 54.5.
Yeah, that's what DraftKings has got.
Action Sports I think Action Sports is just taking an average from all the big sport books.
Yeah, this is FanDuel that I'm looking at.
But yeah, I'm taking Andy Reid experience with the Chiefs. I'm taking been there, done that with the Chiefs. Too much talent. I think they're going to wipe the Bengals off. But it'll be entertaining. It'll be a lot of scoring. In the other game, I mean, I like Stafford. I'm rooting for Stafford, and my gut says 49ers are going to win this game.
Really?
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow. His gut was
they're not supposed to fucking be here.
That's where I'm at with that, man. Yes.
Yeah. They've been playing with house money. I think they're going to rob another one, and then they're going to get absolutely melted in the Super Bowl. Completely destroyed in the Super Bowl. They will fall apart in all 3 phases in the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to beat the Rams.
If that's the case, I secretly hope, not secretly, but I definitely hope Cincinnati wins, because then we get a full 80s throwback, but just in reverse.
So you went Chiefs Niners? Is that right?
I did.
Okay. All right.
Well, let's hope the game's quality matched last week's.
No shit.
I don't see how they can.
I don't either. Last week was rivalry college football quality.
It was a phenomenal weekend. All right, so, dude, all right, I'm going with who I want as well. I'm going with Cincinnati.
All right.
I'm going with Cincinnati simply because I don't think they. All right, so Kansas has Tyreek Hill, Cincinnati has Jamar Chase, and I don't see them being able to stop Jamar Chase, and I don't see them being able to get to Joe Burrow as fast as what the Titans did. So you're going to see Jamar Chase have a phenomenal game and keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands.
He showed up last week, man. He is seriously good. And he almost broke a couple against the Titans. I mean, yeah. I'm so geeked to see the rest of his career, just as long as he's not playing the Titans.
Yes, I agree.
He will be
him and the man.
And delivering the ball. As far as the Rams 49ers, no contest. The Rams all the way.
Dude, I lean with Mike on this. I think I just want the Rams to win, but I have a feeling. I mean, you don't make it this deep in the playoffs off these like this without. I mean, it just happens. Look at it happens when you get on this kind of momentum and you're playing this shitty and you still win. It's hard to stop that train.
Buddy, they're the 2019 Tennessee Titans. They are the 2019 Tennessee Titans.
And now now LA's trying to do the same thing that the Titans just did with their tickets, trying to keep the San Francisco fans from being able to buy tickets.
Well, it doesn't matter. There's no Rams fans.
Well, obviously there is.
Well, there is, but LA, it's never been a great sports market, and there's just more Niner fans probably in Los Angeles.
Basketball is a big market.
The Kings are bigger in freaking the hockey team is bigger than the Rams and Chargers in Los Angeles.
How are you getting this, dude? The LA has 2 professional football teams, 2 basketball teams.
I know, and the 2 pro football teams are probably because they wanted the Raiders.
Yeah.
They wanted the Raiders. LA wanted the Raiders.
They're not going anywhere that's not making the money. So to sit there and say that the LA Rams and the LA Chargers don't have fans, that makes absolutely no sense.
Teams in LA can make money with no fans all the time. When the Lakers are not good, most of the fans in that building are not Lakers fans. When the Lakers are not good.
Which is
LA is a weird sports market, man.
Well, I live in Tennessee. I have no idea.
It's a bunch of transplants. Most of the people who live in Los Angeles were not born there.
I'll drop this dime on you guys. 3 out of the 4 teams playing this next weekend all got beat by the Titans this year.
Don't remind me.
It's believable.
Yep. And you know who it wasn't? Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's the only team that didn't get beat by the Titans.
Oh, the depression.
Yes, sir.
Damn it, Titans.
It's something else. So I guess we'll just pick this up again next week. Y'all want to shoot for Monday again?
Monday was fun.
Monday's good.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.